Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. This is our Israelite Advanced Bible Study, the 18th of June, 2024. Okay, we'll be reading out of the book of Isaiah. Okay, and breaking that down. You can go to our YouTube channel, the Prophets of Awakening, and check out our videos. We have over 1,000 videos. A lot of information. You know, these videos will lead you into the truth of the Holy Scriptures. And if you like what you're hearing and receiving, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It would be greatly appreciated. Okay, and this is a non-Messianic channel. In case for those that didn't know, we deal with the Tanakh, which is the Old Testament, and the Torah, which is the first 5 books of the Old Testament that was given to Moses by the Lord host. Shalom and welcome to this channel, and welcome to our Israelite Advanced Bible Study. Okay, we're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence with prayer, Psalms. We have the current events. We go to a little need to know information. Then we open it up for some Q&A, a little dialogue, and then we go into our topic, which is the book of Isaiah, reading and breaking it down. And then we'll close out. Okay, this moment of silence is for the Lord of hosts, and all that he's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days. Okay. Oh Lord, we come this day praising thee and worshiping thee for thy might and thy power and thy great understanding. Oh Lord, the end times are here, that you have foretold unto our forefathers upon us. Lord, give us strength and wisdom to endure all that thou hast foretold. There's great confusion among your inheritance now that you are awakening them. And I know, Lord, that your hand is sure and that your hand is firm. Oh Lord, we need you so very much in these latter days, when we will tarry and depend upon you, because there is none else besides you to deliver us. You are our deliverer and our redeemer. Peace be unto you. Okay. So with that being said, read the Psalm right quick. Okay. Okay. I'll read Psalms 42. It's an intense longing for God. Okay. As the heart panteth after the heart panteth after the water brooks, so panteth my soul after thee, O God. My soul thirsted for God, for the living God. When shall I come and appear before God? My tears have been my meat day and night, while they continuously say unto me, where is thy God? When I remember these things, I pour out my soul in me, for I have gone with the multitude. I went with them to the house of God with the voice of joy and praise, with a multitude that kept a holy day. Why art thou cast down, O my soul, and why art thou disquieted in me? Hope thou in God, for I shall yet praise him for the help of his countenance. O my God, my soul is cast down within me. Therefore will I remember thee from the land of Jordan, and of the Hermonites, from the hill of Mizar. Deep calleth unto thee with the noise of thy water spouts. All thy water waves and thy bellows are gone over me. Yet the Lord will command his loving kindness in the daytime, And in the night the song shall be with me, and my prayer unto the God of my life. I will say of God, my rock, why hast thou forgotten me? Why go I mourning because of thy oppression of the enemy? As with the sword in my bones, my enemies reproach me, while they say daily unto me, where is thy God? Why art thou cast down, O my soul? And why art thou disquieted within me? Hope thou in the God, for I shall yet praise him, who is the health of my countenance and my God. So that was Psalm 42, right? It's intense longing for God. So once you come into the come into the understanding who God creator is, and you have dealings with him, you can understand this verse and appreciate it, because once you start dealing with him, and for some reason he withdraw from you, you know the difference, and you can relate to this. But the thing I want to shine a light on is it's Miskal, I think it's his name. He's one of David's chief musicians that wrote this song. He says, verse 1, as the hart panteth after the water brook, so panteth my soul after thee, O God. So same way when the deer, that's what a heart is. Thirsty for water, when they get thirsty, the same way his soul is when it comes to God. But the thing I wanted to shine light on was he said, my soul thirsty for God, for the living God. When shall I come and appear before God? So what is he talking about? So when you understand that you got those high holy days, like David was talking about, where the whole congregation they come before God in the temple, they meet in the temple, and I was showing you how the God of Israel is there with them when they at those high holy days, and it's certain men that Levites and king and all them, they can see him, okay, and then some people that don't, but they can see him, and so he's saying right here, verse 2, my soul thirsted for God, for the living God. When shall I come to appear before him? So when he said appear before him, if you go back to when the guy at AI, when they went up against AI, and they couldn't defeat AI, and they come to find out one of the guys was a man, I think his name was Miskal or something like that, had taken some clothes, apparel, and he had taken gold out of uh, let me see, AI or Jericho. He had taken it and hid it within his tent, and he wasn't supposed to. So they could not defeat AI because the guy that took that spoils and wasn't supposed to. So the Lord told Moses to tell the people to get together by their houses, by their lineage, and he had them to pass before him. And when they passed before him, that's when he identified the person who had done what they had done, and he told them to come down. He told Moses who it was. And then Moses called him out. And then we see it happen. They do the same thing. We go to Job right quick. You don't really deal with Job, but it's a good example. So you go to Job, right, and you'll see. Let me get it. Job. Okay, chapter 1, I think it is. Job chapter 1, no, chapter 2. Job chapter 2, verse 1. And again, there was a day when the sons of God, these angels in heaven, came to present themselves before the Lord. And Satan came also among them to present himself before the Lord. So they had to pass, they in heaven, The angels said all of them had to pass before the Lord. So the same thing in Israel, all the males, they had to pass before the Lord. They do this on these high holy days. They had to pass before the Lord. So we see the same thing right here. And that's what he's saying in verse 2. My soul thirsted for God, for the living God, when I shall come and appear before God. So he's longing for that holy day. Let me keep going. And he says, verse 4. When I remember these things, I pour out my soul in me, for I have gone with the multitude that's in the temple. And I went with them to the house of God, right here, and with a voice of joy and praise, with a multitude that kept the holy day. There it is. Okay. Any comments, questions on that? Okay. So we'll keep going. Go to the current events. Okay.
Ever seen? People all across the world are deeply concerned, and for good reason, because all the signs are pointing to World War III. And now, I want to specifically talk about people here in the United States. Who is going to be impacted? What are we currently seeing? And why am I somewhat concerned about what lawmakers are currently doing? So I'm going to break all that down in just a moment. But all I ask is one thing. It takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now let's begin. So what are government officials not telling us? Why are so many people concerned about a potential war, but yet our federal government says there's no risk? Well, if there was no risk, then why would the House pass a defense bill that automatically registers men ages 18 to 26 for the draft? If we have no risk, why would we do that? Well, here's what you need to know. If you have children that are under the age of 26, well, guess what? It is going to impact you. It's not just going to impact men either. It's going to impact men and women. And here's the reason why some experts are really concerned. That we are going to automatically register all men 18 to 26 for selective service. Here's the problem. Not all men ages 18 to 26 should even be selected. We should not be selecting people based off of their birth date. We should be selecting people based off their desire to want to fight for their country. That's how we should be selecting people. But guess what? Congress isn't doing that. Congress isn't trying to up the benefits for military personnel. They're not trying to pay them more. They're not trying to give them and their spouse and their children additional benefits for years to come. No. Congress would be happy if military personnel got paid less, got less lifetime benefits. But guess what? Nobody wants to sign up for that. So you know what we're doing now? Being that enrollment numbers are just so far down and our service is depleted, well, we're automatically making it a thing where you are registered, automatically registered. Not that it is a felony if you don't register for the selective service, which is what it used to be, or technically still is because this has to pass through the Senate. But that's a problem. This is a major problem. Now, the only reason why this bill right here, that's automatically registering men from 18 to 26 for the draft, the only reason why this is not going to pass is because there's other poison pills attached to it. That's the only reason why. Otherwise, lawmakers would pass this bill in a heartbeat. Again, it's a problem. But you only pass a bill like this if you think there's a chance we are going to war and potentially World War III. Look at this. I'm going to show you this right here. China now has 500 warheads and is building its nuclear arsenal faster than any other country, according to a think tank. Not only that, but they are saying that China is going to have over 1,000 warheads, nuclear warheads, by 2030. That's about 5.5 years away. That's a problem. They are building their nuclear arsenal faster than what the United States is doing. You think China is a threat? Absolutely. You want to know one of the reasons why they're a threat, especially to us here in the United States, is because they continue to put pressure on Taiwan. Look at this. This is a Chinese nuclear submarine surfaces in the Taiwan Strait. That right there puts a lot more pressure on Taiwan. That right there is what the United States is concerned with, that Taiwan and China could potentially go at it. And the United States and President Biden have already said this, that if China tries to invade Taiwan or take back Taiwan and make it part of, mainland China, the United States is going to have to step in. And again, that would be a problem. But that's just one potential war. Then we have this one. Israel and Hezbollah on the brink of an all-out war, according to officials. It says Hezbollah is the crown jewel of Iran's terror empire. Now, they're going to step up their attacks, their rocket attacks against Israel. That's what we know. Guess what the United States is doing? Well, Israel is our closest ally in the Middle East. You think we are just going to let them just sit there and take this punishment? No. The United States is going to continue to support Israel. Guess what that means? The United States has a target on our back from Hezbollah, from the Yemen Houthis, from Hamas, which we've already heard from multiple federal officials saying that they know that that many of these groups, Hezbollah, okay, and Hamas, both have sleeper cells in the United States. And that's concerning because, again, we are one bad decision away from a potential attack here on U.S. soil. Look at this one. Why would we have a U.S. nuclear attack submarine surface in Cuba right behind the Russian fleet that also included a Russian nuclear submarine? Now, according to reports just this morning, some are saying that this submarine is falling apart. This submarine is not in the condition that it should be. But again, it doesn't matter if it's still a nuclear submarine, still can attack within 300 miles, a little bit over 300 miles can place an attack. In Cuba, it's less than 100 miles away from Florida. That's how serious this is. But again, how close are we? Are we potentially going to war? What is Congress not telling us? Well, here's what I think is interesting. This article is just from this morning. It says the Senate is poised to send a bill boosting nuclear power to Biden's desk. Why would we need to send nuclear power to Biden's desk? Right, send this bill to his desk? Simple. Because we feel that we are not doing what we need to do. We feel that Russia is a threat. China is a threat. Okay? Hezbollah is a threat. Okay? If all these other countries, Iran, right? If all these other countries are a threat, even North Korea, what are we doing? What are we doing to step it up and make sure that our people here in the United States are safe? Well, I can tell you what we're not doing. We are not protecting our U.S. southern border. People are coming across the border in hundreds and thousands, and yet we continue to let them in. But again, this is just the beginning, because here's what could happen. Remember, we went to war with Afghanistan, right? We went to war with Osama bin Laden, right? We had to go find him, and it took a long time. We were even there after we found him and took his life. But here's what I think is interesting. We're opening up this border, letting all these people in, increasing the risks here in the United States, but yet all we're doing is trying to send more money overseas? How does this make sense? That's why many experts believe we are on the verge of World War III, because we're sending all of our money, all of our resources overseas. But what do we have here in the U.S.? That's the big question. So I don't know what's going to happen moving forward. I don't know if we will ever end up in World War III. Let's hope not. But again, you never know. But
okay, any comments on that?
No, sir.
Okay.
Another warning to the U.S. economy. They're seeing signs of, well, a failing economy because people are not spending their money like they were. They're even closing some stores. Wow. Also, let's talk about what Trump just said that could shock literally everyone when it comes to American politics and American tax. We wouldn't need the IRS if Trump gets back in, if he holds to what he just said. And then we're going to talk about the fact of what is happening with our banks and our society. Some startling news came out about those two. Let's jump into all these stories today and how all this really comes back to one thing: leadership. Do we have good leadership or not? Let's dive in. Hey guys, welcome to the Max. Thank you so very much for being here today. If you are new to the channel, go down here, press subscribe, ring the bell. Give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down, that's okay, but let us know what you think about the content of today. We humbly ask if you like it. Thumbs up means the world. It helps us share our message across this platform. If you think this is pertinent and something important, share it with other people that you know, because our goal is to gain common sense and having wisdom as we navigate this crazy world that we live in. Now let's jump into these stories. Walmart just released a startling warning. Now they issued a warning not too long ago about the economy being in a very bad way. Now Walmart is closing up to 9 stores and looking to make some changes to try to compete with lower income markets. They said the people are struggling and cannot pay for the goods that they're needing. Well, you know, when you talk about places like Walmart and McDonald's and you talk about these bigger businesses, think about what they provide. No matter if you think McDonald's is trash food or no matter if you don't shop at Walmart, they are bigger providers. And when you start hearing warnings that, hey, we're worried about the economy, I think that should help us understand how bad the economy really is. We hear from politicians it's doing great, especially on the left. We hear from the opposition saying, well, it's not as good as it should be. We could do better. However, both parties are spending like crazy. Main Street, normal towns, going to Walmart, going to the grocery is getting tougher and tougher. There's a report from Drudge that said this is going to be a retail apocalypse coming soon. The fact that most commercial real estate and bigger retail giants all have notes that are maturing over the next year or two, meaning their interest rates, of course, are not going down. The fact that they're going to have to refinance probably their lower interest rates to a higher interest rate, and also the fact that they're not out of debt yet. It said that a lot of these places that were already struggling are going to be in catastrophic situations over the next 2 years. And what does that mean for us? That means for us, we're buying from these people. We're buying from these commercial lenders and these real estate giants. So if they have to go up on prices because they're going to cover their expenses, don't you think that that means our goods are going to cost even more than what they're costing now? Remember, groceries are up around 40%. Can we handle another 20%? Can we handle another 10%? Not likely. Of course, Walmart is shuttering. It says that it's just a drop in the bucket compared to the other chains and some of the major problems that other businesses are feeling. I want you to listen to this. Of major providers, people like the Lowe's, the Macy's, the Kohl's, Best Buy, Target, Foot Locker, every one of those are in negative year-over-year sales, meaning their profits are way down. Now listen to this. We are likely looking at around 7,800 retail giants being closed in 2024. So think about, is your economy really doing as good as they say it is, when, especially when Walmart is closing stores, these major retailers are shutting stores, and we're looking at 7,800 bigger chains of some sort will be shut this year based on the economy and the woes of it and how you don't have the money to spend with them. This is not good. And so therefore it's putting a strain on the banks. I want you to listen to this. The entire system is crumbling. Major red alerts are popping up and banks, small business, and retailers cannot keep on pressing on. This is from Michael Snyder of the Economic Collapse blog. It says, if the economy is fine, why are so many people in trouble? Why are so many banks in trouble? We talked about last week about the banks being in trouble with the FDIC releasing the warning. Remember, they didn't release what banks they are. They don't want to tell you what banks they are. So I tell you, be careful what your banks. According to Mortgage Bankers Association, around $1.2 trillion of commercial real estate debt will mature in the United States over the next 2 years. They will see significant stress, which will cause significant stress for banks, then will make a domino effect of bankruptcies. So not looking good. That's why we always tell you to prepare. But this is from Shift Gold. It says, as inflation rises, remember, prepare for crime. Because when we have troubled times, when we see perilous needs, we see crime go up because of desperation. From the 1990s to 2022, crime drastically decreased. However, what has happened since the markets have struggled and inflation has went up and more bigger events has happened since pandemics, black swan events, we have seen crime drastically go up. Now, they don't tell you this, but of the crime that's going up, did you know that 64% of the arrest this year of crime has been of non-citizens? So why are we keeping the border open when we're already struggling financially, can't take care of Americans, but now we're opening the border, and now we're seeing studies are showing that 64% of the arrests that have been made was actually of non-citizens. So what they are, they're desperate. They're trying to look for new ways of living. We're desperate. We're looking for new ways of making money and saving money. Therefore, we're making a contagion of stress and panic that's going to happen in America because people can't afford things, so now they're looking to steal. People can't afford things, so they're looking to commit crimes to get what they need. Now, does that mean desperation and justification of crime is good? No. But what we're saying is if we're not willing to fix it, because there's no politicians willing to fix it, then I think it's going to get really worse. And that's what a lot of these people are saying. These are some of the biggest economies. Shift Gold, Michael Snyder, both of these people are known for their economic advice. Then you hear Walmart actually issuing this warning saying, we're in bad spots, but man, these other retailers are in way worse spots than us. Chicago's in a bad way. They've lost tons of their infrastructure, tons of their big retail giants because of crime. But guess what? A new report came out that said the Chicago mayor spent $30,000 just on his hair and makeup for the campaign season. Talking about being a socialist and being for the people. He spent more on his hair than you probably get in your check on a yearly basis. He's spending that campaign. And he's trying to justify saying, well, I was helping out local businesses. That's what I'm saying. The political class does not understand actually where Main Street is. They're so much worried about what they're getting personally and being very narcissistic to where you are not important. But now let's hear about one more poor politician. Does this mean Trump is the end-all be-all? No, it does not mean that. But again, it gives us a chance to see something like change the world. Trump broke the internet with his comment. He said, Trump floats eliminating U.S. income taxes, saying he will replace it with tariffs on imports. Do you know how crazy that would be? How awesome that would be for the American people? To not have an income tax, and that would make the government say, you know what, we got to cut our budget a little bit, but then saying all the stuff that we're having to buy instead of making American products, we're going to put tariffs on, or we're going to put higher taxes on those things coming across the seas. Now, I know most people say, oh, well, yeah, but I mean, we like the stuff that we get from overseas, the cheap stuff from China, blah, 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 blah. I understand that. But what now you're seeing a leader saying, I'm just to give you more money because I'm going to charge you less. And then I'm going to incentivize you buying from American companies. This is huge. Will he do it? Don't know. He has to get it through Congress, which Congress is a joke. Can it happen? Maybe.
Okay. Any comments on that?
Shalom.
Okay.
That's a lot to sink in.
Okay.
It's like he's promoting a lot of Trump's um, what he's going to do, and how if anyone else is listening to it, that's just promoting his votes per se, just glamour of what he's projecting is going to happen, and by him agreeing to it and making it sound like it's going to be the best thing to happen, um, it's just too much.
Like
And how
campaign.
he's going to do it if he's not. Yes, with the campaign, and being that he already has those counts against him and supposed to be a felon, um, it seems like nonchalant, like that news never happened, and he's just a regular campaign, um, competitor who wants to be the president, and all those other things does not even filter into what's going on with this gentleman who's talking about Trump.
Right. Right. You notice the first quarter that he was talking about the condition of America, the infrastructure and all that. When you look at all that and look at the bills that's being passed and the things that Congress is doing, They want a war. Like the guy was saying earlier, the one before this one said that you got Putin pulling up in Cuba 100 miles outside of Florida, and then a U.S. Nuclear submarine surface. It's like they trying to entice. They want war because they trying to cut this off before this place fall apart. The only thing they can save it, just like in the past, was for them to start a war, and then war going because of all the things that's affiliated with a war. Building up the military industrial complex going to make up. They got to start making more monies because more things got to be manufactured. So they're going to generate money. Other than that, this place just going to continue to spiral out of control. That's why Russia and China is just playing dead because they just waiting on. They know it's going. They steady chipping at it. But America trying to find any kind of way, in every way to start a war. Even what they got going on in Israel and Ukraine. That's the only thing keeping America afloat. These wars. So they want an all-out war to, counter this. What they see what's happening to America. Anybody else? Okay, I'm opening up for some Q&A. Anybody have any questions or comments about anything that they came across? They heard on Prophets of Awakening on Clubhouse. They wanted to bring it out, dialogue. Okay.
The G7 summit is a test for its leadership. Can they solve the world's biggest problems, or will they let them fester again? The success of this summit hinges on this question. And there's a reason why I say this. Some alternatives to the G7 are punching above their weight, like BRICS, the group of leading emerging economies. This week, the foreign ministers of BRICS nations met. They met in Russia. Indian diplomats attended the meeting. A joint statement was released. The BRICS countries are sending a message to Israel on its Gaza offensive. They want Israel to stop the war. The BRICS have condemned Israel's operations in Rafah. They're concerned about the increasing attacks, the growing death toll, and the humanitarian crisis.
So, like I said, BRICS and these other countries thriving. They don't need no war. But America, Israel, and all them, they want war in order to deal with the agenda, the situation they're in, and the agenda they got. They want war.
Due to the war, the BRICS nations have slammed Israel for what they call a blatant disregard of international law.
Right.
And they support full membership of Palestine at the United Nations. Moreover, the statement uses the term occupied, and this choice of words is significant because it paints Israel as the occupier. This is a sweeping criticism of Israel's war. More importantly, India has signed off on this statement. Along with the rest of the BRICS members, India has signed, which is again quite significant because so far India had walked a fine line, balancing both the interests of Israel and Palestinians. When the Hamas attacked Israel, New Delhi called it a terrorist attack, but in the same breath, India backed the two-state solution where Israel and Palestine coexist. Just a few days ago, New Delhi had maintained the same balance while discussing the Israeli attacks on Rafah.
The heartbreaking loss of civilian lives in the displacement camp in Rafah is a matter of deep concern for us. We also note that the Israeli side has already accepted responsibility for it as a tragic incident.
But in Russia, India sided firmly with the BRICS and endorsed the use of harsh language for Israel. Does this mean a shift in India's policy? Well, not exactly, but it does show how the developing world views Israel's war in Gaza. They want it to end soon. The BRICS made progress on other fronts as well. They discussed using their native currencies for trade. They challenged protectionism in global trade, and they called for a reform of the World Trade Organization. BRICS nations want special treatment for developing nations at the WTO. By raising these issues, the BRICS is taking an aim at the West and challenging the G7, which is also interesting because barring Russia and China, the other original BRICS members have all been invited to the G7 summit in Italy. South Africa will skip due to domestic reasons, but India and Brazil are attending. Nonetheless, BRICS is carefully positioning itself. Last year, they surpassed the G7 in GDP. its 5 original members, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, contributed more to the global GDP. This is on a purchasing power parity basis. This is a measure of economic productivity and living standards. Now, going by this report, the share of BRICS nations stood at over 31%. What about the G7? The 5 BRICS countries together contribute nearly 31.5% of the global GDP, compared to 30.7% by G7 countries. Their share was around 30%. Now, this year, the BRICS has gotten bigger. It has added 5 new members, that is Saudi Arabia, Egypt, the UAE, Iran, and Ethiopia. This newly expanded BRICS represents over 3.5 billion people, and their combined economies are worth more than $28 trillion, which is about 28% of the world's economy. These numbers challenge the economic influence and positioning of the G7. It doesn't represent a large section of the world's population, and it's not being able to solve major global issues. Take the pandemic, for instance. The G7 promised to deliver 1 billion shots to the world. Instead, they kept most of the vaccines for themselves. They did not share the supply. This hoarding may have led to deaths. At least 600,000 lives could have been saved had the vaccines come on time. The G7 has failed to deliver on climate change as well. It promised to provide $100 billion per year for the world's transition away from carbon fuels. So far, they haven't paid up. Now they seem to be heading towards another failure. Recently, the G7 leaders endorsed Biden's truce plan for Gaza, but it has failed to gain traction. The efforts of BRICS leaders, though, are getting attention. The Palestinians have welcomed the BRICS statement on the Gaza war. That was to be expected, of course. One of their diplomats has thanked the BRICS and India for taking a stand against Israel. So here's where we are at. The G7 are neither the richest nor the most influential, which again is a point to ponder for the leadership.
So like I said before, we're looking at prophecy taking place. The place is going down and makes people panicking. They're trying to do everything under the sun to try to extend their little time that the Creator gave them, but it's nothing is working. They just making more and more embarrassing themselves more and more because everything they do is wrong because they time up. Okay. And with that being said, like I said, I was going to read out of. Anybody have any comments, questions about that or anything before we start reading? Okay. We go to Isaiah. I was looking at something here the other day. Shine a light on it. Get it. I think it started in Isaiah chapter 6. Let me get it. Okay. Yeah, so I want to start at chapter 11. She should be familiar with it, but like I said, I'm trying to set the stage got to be set first, and understanding that Isaiah was prophesied to the nation of Israel because they had turned away from the Lord of hosts, just like Jeremiah doing. He's talking about Nebuchadnezzar coming. And so you have to understand that because you have so many people that try to take these prophecies and bring them into the future, but Jeremiah prophesied most of it. He's prophesied to them about what they've done as a people, and that the Israelites come, and that the Chaldeans are coming. A prime example. Let me go back and read this before I start reading out chapter 11. If you go to chapter 3, you see a lot of people go to chapter 3, the daughters of Zion, right? And we're gonna pick up right there. I'm gonna read that in chapter 4 too, because chapter 4 is not that long, but this is turning into the daughters of Zion, which you can see a lot of that's happening today. But this specific these verses right here is pertaining to what Nebuchadnezzar coming. Israel fell away from the Lord of hosts, and he's going to punish them like he told David. Sons, as long as I'm gonna always keep a son out of your lineage on the throne. If he do good, then he's gonna be blessed. He's gonna be blessed. But if he don't, I'm gonna bring these wicked nations from around him to Israel, punish them, chastise them. So when Isaiah chapter 3, verse 16, it's the daughters of Zion, right? He says, moreover, the Lord saith, because the daughters of Zion are haughty and walk with stretched forth necks, Wu-Tang eyes, walking and mincing as they go, and making a tingling with their feet. Therefore the Lord will smite with the scab the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion, and the Lord will discover their secret parts. So 18, in that day the Lord will take away the bravery of their tingling ornaments about their feet, and their coils and their round tires like the moon. So like I told you, it's more than one day of the Lord. Every time Israel turns from their Lord and the Lord of hosts shows up, that's the day of the Lord. Day of judgment. It's the same thing. So right here he says, in that day, right? So most people that's reading this, especially the Christian, they think this ain't happened yet. Right? So they'll say, that's why they come here a lot. In 19, the chains and the bracelets and the mufflers, the bonnets, the ornaments, the legs, the headbands, the tablets, and the earrings, the rings, the nose jewels, the changeable suits of apparel, and the mantles, and the wimples, and the crisping pins, the glasses, and the fine linen, the hoods, the veils. It shall come to pass. See that? Right? We just read it, 18. In that day, the Lord will take away, right? And now we in 24. It shall come to pass that instead of a sweet smell, there shall be stench, and instead of a girdle, a rent, and instead of well set hair, baldness, and instead of a stomacher, a girding for sackcloth, and burning instead of beauty. Then here you go. 25. Thy men, this they heed, whether they want to believe it or deal with it or not, but the men of Israel is their heed. It says, thy men shall fall by the sword, and thy mighty in war. So this is one of those things when they say you don't know, you don't miss the well till the water run dry. Instead of you drinking water and you may not appreciating the well, then when the well run dry, then all of a sudden now you worry about the well. So right here, the hedge is these men. That's the way he got it set up. The hedge is the men. And it says, because of what they're doing right here, thy men shall fall by the sword, and thy mighty men in war. So Nebuchadnezzar coming. That's who's gonna do it. 26. And her gates shall lament and mourn, and she being desolate shall sit upon the ground. So why she desolate? He took away the heads, the men. Now we go to chapter 4. There's another verse right here that's read out of context. So, like I'm telling you, this is during the time when Nebuchadnezzar came. We see right here in chapter 3, he said he's gonna bring people there, they're gonna kill the men, all the men gonna fall by the sword. Chapter 4, and in that day, that's when Nebuchadnezzar came. He just told you gonna get rid of the men, you're gonna kill them, right? So in chapter 4, verse 1, in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man. That's because he killed all the men. So you can look at this and see that the same sort of thing coming, which already happened because they've been killing Israelite men all over the place the last 2,500 years. So anyway, it says, in that day when Nebuchadnezzar came, in that day 7 men shall take hold of one, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, check it out, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name, to take away the approach. So how can a woman be called by his name? Israelite man. So look what it say. We will eat our own bread, wear our own apparel. What apparel? Go back up, what I just read. Therefore the Lord will smite the scab of the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion, and the Lord will discover their private parts. In that day, the Lord will take away the bravery of their, they go all the apparel right here. They got their apparel. So it's saying we got the food and we got the apparel. You done killed all the men. So they looking for a man. So now there's ain't that many men. Now they trying to come together, grab them one man and take away the approach by getting under a man. That's the understanding of that. So anyway, let me finish reading that. That was chapter 4. Let me see. Yeah. And in that day, chapter 4, verse 2. In that day shall the branch of the Lord be beautiful and glorious, and the fruit of the earth shall be excellent and comely for them that are escaped. So these are people that's left. So who is the branch? Zerubbabel. Zerubbabel came back. So it says, in that day shall the branch of who? David. Zerubbabel. When he returned, when they come out of Babylon, glorious, and the fruit of the earth shall be excellent, and the comely of them that are escaped of Israel. They came out of Babylonian captivity. And it shall come to pass that he that is left in Zion, see that? Go back up to verse 1. 7 women shall take hold of one man, right? So that is left in Zion, and he that remains in Jerusalem shall be called holy. Ain't there many of them? The man that left is holy, even everyone that is written among the living in Jerusalem. And when the Lord shall have washed away, see that? What we just read. He told him, I'm gonna bring judgment there. Out, and the Lord shall have washed away the filth of the daughters of Zion, and shall have purged the blood of Jerusalem from the midst thereof by the spirit of judgment. That's what he just told them. I'm gonna come here, and your men gonna be laying everywhere. Some of them too. Dead bodies everywhere. Spirit of judgment, and by the spirit of burning, and the Lord will create upon every dwelling place of Mount Zion and upon her assemblies a cloud of smoke by day, and a shining of a flaming fire by night. For upon all the glory shall be a defense, and there shall be a tabernacle for a shadow in the daytime, and for heat, and for a place of refuge, and for a covert from the storm and from the rain. So, like I said before, this stuff already hadn't happened. You can look at it and see, because everything is really happening. Israel seeing and going into captivity, you have to deliver them. So you can look at it like that and see what he done in the past, and line up some of the stuff was getting ready to happen because of what you saw in the past. But this particular situation right here is talking about Nebuchadnezzar coming, and they're gonna go into Babylon for 70 years and then come back out. Okay. Any comments before I start reading out of chapter 11? Anybody got anything?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, chapter 11 of Isaiah says, and there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of his roots. And the Spirit of the Lord notices the stem out of Jesse. There are people that they don't rightly divide it. It says out of Jesse, not out of David. The stem gonna come out of Jesse. So David came out of Jesse. So you're talking about David. The Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him, the spirit of wisdom and understanding, the spirit of counsel and might, the spirit of knowledge and the fear of the Lord. And he shall make him of a quick understanding in the fear of the Lord, and he shall judge after the sight of his eyes. He shall not judge after the sight of his eyes, neither reprove after the hearing of his ears, but with righteousness shall he judge the poor, and reprove with iniquity for the meek of the earth. And he shall smite the earth with the rod of his mouth, and with the breath of his lips shall he slay the wicked. and the righteous shall be the girdle of his loins, faithfulness, the girdle of his reign. Now here we go. This is how we know that this haven't happened, because it says, the wolf also shall dwell with the lamb. We know that ain't happened yet. And the leopard shall lie down with the kid, and the calf, and the young lion and the fatling together, and the little child shall lead them. That ain't happened yet. And the cow and the bear shall feed. Their young ones shall lie down together, and the lion shall eat straw. We damn sure ain't seen that. The lion eating straw like an ox. And the suckling child shall play on the hole of an asp, and the weaned child shall put his hand on the cockatrice den, that's a snake den. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, for the earth shall be full of the knowledge of the Lord, as the waters are covered the sea. So we see that now, that the Most High is returning the knowledge of the Lord. We uncover these books. He's waking up people. He's waking men up to just showing them His word, reformulating His word, putting everything, puzzles back together. Okay, and then verse 10 said, in that day, there shall be a root out of Jesse. There you go again. We shall stand for an ensign, David, for the people. To it shall the Gentiles see. So Gentiles is third beast, and his rest shall be glorious. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again a second time to recover the remnant of his people, which are left from Assyria, from Egypt, from Paphros, from Cush, and from Elam, from Shinar, and from Hamath, and from the isles of the sea. And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. And the envy of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, Judah shall not vex Ephraim, but they shall fly upon the shoulders of the Philistines toward the west, and they shall spoil them of the east together, and they shall shall lay their hands upon Edom and Moab, and the children of Ammon shall obey them. And the Lord shall utterly destroy the tongue of the Egyptian sea, and with his mighty wind he shall shake his hand over the river, and he shall smite it with 7 streams, and make men go over to Drashah, and there shall be a highway for the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, like as it was to Israel in the day that they came up out of the land of Egypt. So that was chapter 11. Right? And then so we go to chapter 12. Thanksgiving for God's mercy. And in that day thou shalt say, O Lord, I will praise thee. Though thou was angry with me, thy anger is turned away, and thou comforted me. So we see that happening right now. The Most High's anger is being turned away from us. Whereas, like I said, it used to be, there's nothing we can do right because curses is on us. Now we see nothing the Gentile can do. Everything he do is wrong. That's how we see this happening right here. 2, behold, God is my salvation, and I will trust and not be afraid, for the Lord Jehovah is my strength and my song. He also has become my salvation. So let's look at that right quick, because this is the part I keep on stressing on Prophets of Awakening. It says, Isaiah talking, behold, God is my salvation. Lord of hosts is my salvation. I will trust and not be afraid, for the Lord, see that? Not Jesus. This is where everybody throw it off at. For the Lord, Jehovah is my strength and my song. He also has become my salvation. Not Jesus. Jesus ain't the salvation. Right? Lord is. Verse 3. Therefore, with joy shall ye draw water out of the well of salvation. And in that day shall ye say, praise the Lord. not JC. Call upon his name. Declare his doings among the people. Make mention that his name is exalted. There you go. Right? So it says, in that day shall ye say, praise the Lord. Call upon his name. Michael. Declare his doings among the people. Make mention that his name is exalted. So you getting this information and you understanding this is what he tell you to do with it. Like I said, you woke up not to boast that you're a Hebrew Israelite. He woke you up for you to find out who he is. And then once you find out who he is, then you proclaim it. Got 5. Sing unto the Lord, for he have done excellent things. This is known in all the earth. Cry out and shout. Though thou inhabitants of Zion, for great is the Holy One of Israel in the midst of thee. See how big that is? So, like I said before, Most High in the very beginning created 7 holy angels. When Moses was on the mountain at Mount Horeb, an angel came to him and he said, take off your shoes, for the ground that you're standing on is holy. There's an angel there, not Yahweh. A holy one. That's why the ground holy. So verse 6 right here, Isaiah chapter 12, verse 6. Cry out aloud, thou inhabitants of Zion, for great is the Holy One of Israel in the midst of thee. Not Yahweh, and it ain't Jesus. So chapter 13, Isaiah, the burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amos did see. There you go, like I was telling you. The burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amos did see. So this is what Isaiah talking about. Babylon. And then they didn't trick it off and got you talking about a Babylon over in the New Testament of Babylon, America. But right here, you can't leave from Revelation and come here. It says, the burden of Babylon, which Isaiah saw, the son of Amos did see. Lift up a banner upon the high mountains, exalt the voice unto them, shake the hand that they may go into the gates of the nobles. I have commanded my sanctified ones. I have also called my mighty ones for mine anger, even them that rejoice in my highness, these angels. He said, what are you talking about? He says, rejoice in my highness. What are you talking about? Let's go right quick and look at it. In Ezekiel, right here. Okay, give me a minute. Ezekiel chapter 9. Okay, right here. Ezekiel chapter 9, verse 1. He cried also in my ear with a loud voice, saying, cause them that have charge over the city to draw near, every man with his destroying weapon in his hand. And behold, 6 men came from the way of the higher gate, which lieth toward the north, every man with a slaughter weapon in his hand, and 1 man among them clothed in linen, with a writer's inkhorn upon his side, and they went in and stood beside it. So these the men right here, these 7 holy ones I told you. Go all the way back to Genesis 1:26. Let us go down and make man in our image. These 7 angels, holy ones, 7 holy angels. So this is what he talked about over here when I just read in Isaiah 13. He says, I have commanded my sanctified ones. I have also called my mighty ones for mine anger. So judgment coming. It's Babylon. He called Nebuchadnezzar, and he got these angels with him, these holy ones that's been there from the beginning. This who came down at the Tower of Babel. Okay. It says, call my mighty ones for mine anger, even them that rejoice in my highness. They right there with him. The noise of a multitude in the mountains is Nebuchadnezzar, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gather together. The Lord of hosts mustered the host for the battle. So let's Nebuchadnezzar. Yeah. Howl ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all the hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt, and they shall be afraid. Pains and sorrows shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth, that shall be amazed one to another. Their faces shall be as flames. Behold, the day of the Lord. There goes the day of the Lord right here. Like I said, this ain't the day of the Lord that we waiting on. It's the day of the Lord became to our forefathers in Babylon, the Chaldeans, right? Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in its going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. And I will punish the world. See that? Punishment, judgment. I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked for their iniquity, and I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease. So look at the world today. Well, who we dealing with? Arrogant, proud people. Can't tell them shit. So that's another example to understand Creator coming. We know He coming. So it says in verse 11, I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked for their iniquity, and I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease. That's what we're looking at. And I will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than a golden wafer of a golden wedge of Ophir. This is what the 7 women coming in at, right? Therefore I will shake the heavens and the earth, and I shall remove out of her place in the wrath of the Lord of hosts, and in the day of my fierce anger. And it shall be as a chased roe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up, that shall every man turn to his own people, and flee everyone to his own land. Everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. So let's look at this right here. You got the brulee, right? Got these Negroes, women and men that you can't tell them shit when it comes to it. It's trying to explain to them that Jesus was concocted. He ain't got nothing to do with us as Israelites in these last days. The Creator was waking up people to give you the truth on who He is, and you ain't trying to deal with it. So He says right here, and the reason why you ain't dealing with it because you ain't thinking like your forefathers. You ain't thinking like Hebrew. You've been incorporated in these Gentiles' way of thinking. So it says 13. Therefore will I shake the heavens and the earth, and I shall remove out of her place in the wrath of the Lord of hosts, in the day of His fierce anger, and it shall be as a chased roe and as a sheep that no man taketh up. Right? That's where we at. You know, you don't want to hear the truth. You ain't trying to take that up. You want to do it with anything else. They shall every man turn to his own people, and flee everyone to his own land. Everyone that is found shall be thrust through. See that? You can fumble with that if you want to. Thrust through. And everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. So what are you talking about? Going with JC. You with that whole setup, that beast system. You ain't trying to hear the truth. When they come, you can't all of a sudden try to jump on the other side of the fence or try to get some kind of understanding. Now the time to get the understanding. And now is the time to understand that this information ain't just happen to come across your path. The Most High brought it across your path. So it says, their children shall also be dashed. Look at it. See? Their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Their houses shall be spoiled, and their wives ravished. So these folks sent Michael Vick to jail for fighting dogs. And lynching us out of trees and all that shit, but they're gonna send him to jail behind fighting dogs. So right here, so they really gonna think this is an abomination. It says their children also shall be dashed into pieces before their eyes. Their houses shall be spoiled, and their wives ravished. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver. Check it out. This is the thing this is one of the things I was talking about, that we think in one way, but they ain't how the shit go. He says this happened. The Babylonians came. We know what they done to the Israelites. Now he bringing the Medes and Persians on them, on judgment on the Medes and Persians, right? In verse 17, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver. They don't give a damn about silver. Americans over here, Europeans do. They the ones care about silver. So he says they don't regard silver. For as for gold, they shall not delight in it. They don't give a damn about gold or silver. They got a whole nother mindset. Says their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb, and their eyes shall not spare children. So they don't give a damn about gold. They don't care about silver. They don't care about women, children. They come in, they got one thing on their mind. And Babylon, the glory of the kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldeans, the excellency shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. So you take that right there and apply it to the day. You don't give a damn what we worried about. He ain't worried about it. Okay? It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabian pitch their tent, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there, but wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures, and the owl shall dwell there, and the satyr shall dance there, and the wild beasts of the islands shall cry in their desolate houses, and dragons in their pleasant places, and her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged. So, like I said before, that's where we at now. Just like the time with the Chaldeans ran out, America in the West, in the time of the Gentiles is up. So the same thing we're looking at right here, that's the same thing coming. It already started. It says 22, just Isaiah 13 and 22. And the wild beasts and the islands shall cry in their desolate houses, and the dragons in their pleasant palaces, and her time is near. That's where we at, to come. And her days shall not be prolonged. And nothing they can do. They're trying to prolong it, but ain't nothing you do gonna stop it. Okay? Ain't that something? I'll read another chapter. 14 it says, so what we're looking at is he brought the Medes and Persians to punish the Chaldeans for what they did to Israel. So in verse chapter 14, we see it's a remnant that got preserved from Israel. Same thing now. When all you see getting ready to happen is to preserve a remnant of Israel. It says, for the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and he will yet chose Israel. See that? And set them in their own land. That's what we're waiting on. And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and for handmaidens, and they shall take them captive, who captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. Say, and it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrows. Right? So we just went through the curses. So that's what we're waiting on. Rest from our sorrows. and from thy fear, and from the hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve, that we made to serve, and that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how has thy oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. The Lord have broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. So just put America here. So how have how has the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. The Lord have broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. That's what we're looking at. He's breaking them. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke. He that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted, and none hindered. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Yea, the fir tree rejoiced at thee, the cedars of Lebanon saying, since thou art laid down, no fellow is come up against us. Hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee as I come. It stirs up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth. It have raised up from the thrones all the kings of the nations, all they that speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we, or thou become like unto us. Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vows, the worms spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which did it weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of heaven. I will set also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. So that's what I want to shine light on. I talked about this earlier. So you notice right here how this conversation shifted from King of Babylon to Satan, because he the one that's running it, right? 13 says, for thou hast, this Isaiah 14:13, thou hast said in thy heart, this Satan, which is an angel, Lucifer, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of God, right? And I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. That's the temple in Jerusalem. Like I said, they dealing with the Lord of hosts in the temple, not Yahweh. He in the temple. That's his temple. When they have these high holy days, he's in there. So he wants to be exalted like he is. So he says, I will also, it says, I will sit also upon the mount. That's in Mount Zion, the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. That's what Michael name means. He was like Yahweh. So he trying to usurp Michael's authority. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth tremble, that did shake kingdoms, that made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners? All the kings of the nations, even all of them lie in glory, even everyone in his own house. So they got graves, big ass graves, and like the pyramids and all that, got kings in there. Say, but thou art cast out of thy grave like an abominable branch, and as a raiment of those that are slain, thrust through with a sword, that go down into the stones of the pit, as a carcass trodden under feet. Thou shalt not be joined with them in burial, because thou hast destroyed thy land and slain thy people. The seed of the evildoer shall never be renowned. Prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. For I will rise up against them, saith the Lord of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name, the remnant, and the son, even the nephew, says the Lord. And I will also make it a possession for bitterns, and a pool of water, and I will sweep it with the besom of destruction, says the Lord of hosts. The Lord of hosts hath sworn, says, surely I have thought, so shall it come to pass, and as I propose, so shall it stand, that I will break the Assyrian in my land, and upon my mountain tread him under foot. Then shall his yoke depart from off them, and his burden depart off of their shoulder. This is the purpose that is proposed upon the whole earth, and this is the hand that is stretched out upon all the nations. For the Lord of hosts hath proposed, and who shall disannul it? And his hand is stretched out, and who shall turn it back? In the year that King Ahaz died was the burden. So downright, all that I read, you come back over to 27. The Lord of hosts hath proposed, and who shall disannul it? And his hand is stretched out, and who shall turn it back? In the year King Ahaz died was this burden. Tell you when it happened. You can't go to Revelations, New Testament, because all this stuff that happened, most of it, like I said. Rejoice not thou, O Palestinian, because the rod of him that smote thee is broken. For out of the serpent's root shall come forth a cockatree, and his fruit shall be a fiery flying serpent. And the firstborn of the poor shall feed, and the needy shall lie down in safety, and I will kill the root with famine, and he shall slay thy remnant. Hollow gates, cry, O city, thou whole Palestinian are dissolved, for there shall come from the north a smoke, and none shall be alone in his appointed time. What shall one then answer? The messenger of the nation, that the Lord hath found at Zion, and the poor of his people shall trust in him. So what you read right there is he brought them back out of Babylon, and they came back to Jerusalem. It says 32. What shall one then answer? The messenger of the nations, that the Lord hath found at Zion, even reestablished Zion. They came out of Babylon, and the poor of his people shall trust in him. Okay? And like I said before, you way off. You keep on, if you're trying to make this stuff work into the future, and when it's all about things that now already can transpire, that'll be everybody divided. Any comments, questions?
Shalom. In Isaiah 14, verse 1, when
Right.
when it was mentioned, and the strangers shall be joined with them, is those strangers Gentiles? Who are the strangers?
That's all. They not Israelites, but they just like when Israel came out of Egypt, didn't a mixed multitude come with them?
Yes, sir.
Strangers. So they came into the land. So it's the same. Like I said, when you understand how it works, it's the same thing happening over and over again. When they was in Babylon, he brought them out of Babylon. It's a remnant of they weren't Israelites that came out with them. And
Yes, sir.
then you got to also look at the fact that Isaac, Abraham, and Isaac was Hebrews. They weren't Israelites. It's Jacob. Jacob's name was changed. Jacob's children are Hebrew Israelites, but Abraham and Isaac was Hebrews. So those can be strangers too. Like the Midianites, when Moses was fled from Egypt, he ended up over in Midian, where those are the children of Abraham that he had for his second wife. They Hebrews, but they not Israelites. So they strangers too. That's why they can come into the land of Israel. Then they got all full access to everything, just like the rest of the Israelites got, because they Hebrews too. You got to know which stranger you're dealing with.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Right. Right. Anybody else? Everybody good?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So with that being said, okay. I see everybody tomorrow for our reading through it tonight. Shalom.
Shalom, shalom, everyone.
Shalom, shalom, everyone.
Shalom.